So Kirsten, last video, we actually touched on something without really trying. That's a good subject, I think, to talk about, and that is some informal contractions. So you said you're gonna do something, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And many people might know that this is actually two words that we've smashed together into one word, which is informal. This is something that you'll hear a lot in speech, but you won't see in writing.
Mm.
So that's going to changes to gonna when we're speaking. And I would say I almost always use gonna in place of going to when I'm talking. But there are certain situations that might be inappropriate. And what would you say there, John, is when we want to avoid gonna?
Well, first, as you said, like in writing. I mean, it's one thing if you're texting your friend, but I would never write gonna to my boss. I might say it
Yeah.
around my boss when it's just the two of us talking.
Right.
But I think any type of formal presentation, like in business, you're making a speech,
Right.
you're talking to people who maybe are really, at a very high level. That's where you avoid contractions like gonna. That's where you stick to going to.
Right. If you want to make a very professional
Mm,
representation of yourself, maybe you're in sales and you're trying to get a new client. You might want to speak a little bit more correctly and concisely. And then
exactly.
another
Yes.
thing to remember with gonna is it's be going to, right? So that be verb changes. So
Hmm.
that's just something to remember. Like he is gonna, he's gonna, she's gonna,
Yeah.
I'm gonna, you're gonna. So that's just remember that be verb changes as
Yeah.
well.
Like after we finish here today, Kirsten, I am gonna go to the supermarket.
Yeah, there
Right.
you go.
That's a perfect
Right.
example. Yeah. Yeah.
And then I would ask like, what are you gonna do? That's answering that question. So what are you gonna do?
Right.
So
Right.
and
So.
then with that, another thing is back, we kind of mentioned this before, I think in one of our other videos, but if you're testing, right? If you're taking a test, remember to use going to.
Right. Right. Absolutely. I mean, I think that. Um, I think normal contractions are okay with the standardized tests.
Yeah.
But whenever you're in that situation, whether it's the TOEFL or the speaking portion of the Cambridge exam or whatever it is, going to.
Yeah. And I think a good way, if you are getting confused, which one is the informal contraction or is a regular contraction,
Mhm.
you can see if it has that apostrophe. And it's
Right.
usually like with not, like will not goes to won't. Yeah, do not goes to don't. And sometimes we'll add like he will, he'll. But if you see that like apostrophe at the top, then
Mhm.
you can know that that's one of the more grammatically okay
Yes.
contractions to write. But if you're seeing gonna or wanna, which is what we're going to talk about next, that's something that you don't want to write down, but you can say it in
Mhm.
most situations.
All right. So,
So that leads
do
us
you
to
want
the
to
next.
talk about wanna now? Yeah.
Yes, I want to talk about wanna. And again, that's two words that we smashed together,
Mhm.
want and to. Um,
Yeah.
and this one, maybe the mechanics is a little bit different
Mm.
because when you're saying, I wanna, this is okay, or you wanna, but if you remember, like, my sister wants to, or my best friend wants to. So if it's like he or she, we can't really put it together because you need that S sound,
Mhm.
I would say.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
only difference with that one, but then it kind of follows the same rules as gonna,
Yeah.
as far
That's
as
yeah.
like speaking and writing.
Yes.
Was there anything else you thought about wanna?
Yeah, I mean, so just like you said, it's I wanna, you wanna, they wanna go, but once you get into that, she wanna, he wanna, it doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound good.
Mhm.
So that's where we switch back to adding that sound that we need. Yes.
Right. It's going to sound a little more separated when you're talking about he or she. Now you might hear somebody say he wanna or she wanna.
Mhm.
Maybe you're hearing it very informally in a TV show. Like you might hear maybe in the South somebody speaking a little bit more
Yeah, yeah, and
that
in
way.
some, I think some of the, the islands in the Caribbean where English is spoken, you might hear
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So,
So that, it's a little bit more normal for them to speak in that way. But if you hear it in our part of the US, it sounds a little bit wrong to us. We might think like, oh, that's not quite right.
yes, or you might just say, oh, you're from the South, So,
Yeah, right.
and it's just there's all kinds of English, so um, it's something to bear in mind. So,
Yeah, exactly. And then there's one other one that we can talk about, and which is that one?
yeah, that's have to or have to, right?
Yeah,
So tomorrow I have to go to the bank.
right. And you're
Yeah,
putting those together
yeah,
to
and
make
the
one
V
sound.
sound in have sounds a bit more like an F, so it becomes
Yeah,
have to. Yeah.
right,
Um,
right. Whereas like want to, you kind of drop that T sound. Here you're replacing the V sound to F. So
mhm,
have to
right.
go. And I
Yes.
think depending on how you talk, it might sound more like have to, but some people sound more like have to.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
choose which way you want to say it, but either are
Exactly.
fine, I would say.
Exactly.
Uh,
And really, I think a lot of the point of what we're doing here, guys, is that we want to help you guys with what you will hear.
exactly.
Because as we always say, native speakers many times, just don't think that, oh, this person I'm speaking with, their native language isn't English, so maybe I should slow down, maybe I should drop certain expressions. No, we don't think that way. And for better or for worse, there it is.
And I think this is important if you want to sound natural and fluent in the
Mhm.
language. Um, it's good to hear it the way that we actually speak rather
Right.
than this kind of choppy, totally grammatically correct way, which is not natural um, way to speak. And I think if you're a teacher, maybe you won't see this in your grammar books.
Mhm.
You might not see informal contractions in your grammar books, but it's important to teach as well to students, I would say.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Um, it's hard. And again, I think one of the things that we want to make clear um, to students, I mean, is that we sat here and said, oh, you shouldn't use it here, you shouldn't use it there, you shouldn't use it on these occasions. At the same time, you're going to hear this a lot. And probably in situations where you hear it, it's okay to use. So don't be afraid of this.
Right, right. I would say more often than not, we use it.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
especially over time, language is always changing. It might
Mhm.
have been more common to say want to in the past, and now we're evolving, we're simplifying our language a little more. So, yeah, you'll probably notice that too. And some older grammar books might tell you never to use gonna,
Mhm.
but
Yes.
changed.
Well, if you want to see the how the language sounded, just try find some videos of Queen Elizabeth speaking,
Yeah, yeah,
and because she will avoid some of these more modern forms of speech that certainly a lot of modern slang. It's not her job to speak slang. But yeah, you watch her and you'll hear everything is enunciated just so.
hmm
Um,
a lot of British English is that way, or
mhm,
you might see some different ways of speaking if you watch something from the 50s or 60s.
hmm,
rather than now.
Right.
It's funny, slang is always changing too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, there's actually a topic for another video, Kirsten. Maybe
Yeah.
some like historical accents, or the differences between what you saw on television 30 years ago, what you'd hear on the radio 50 years ago, and what kind of voices you hear now. I think it's changed significantly. So.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah, those are all different topics. We have like the colloquial terms, and then we also have slang terms, and I would say every decade it's changing. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. So
it's good
okay.
for people to learn, and yeah, we hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll probably have more to come with these informal contractions.
Absolutely. So what you gonna do later, Kirsten?
So I'm gonna probably just walk outside because it's really nice outside right now. I have to do some grocery shopping, and yeah, I'm studying actually. I'm gonna study for my Japanese.
All right. Well, good. Good. Okay, Kirsten. I'll see you next week.
Yep. See you next week.